ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਸੀਨ ਫਰੇਜ਼ਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਰੂਸ ਤੇ ਯੂਕਰੇਨ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਬਣੇ ਹੋਏ ਤਣਾਅਪੂਰਨ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਯੂਕਰੇਨੀ ਤੇ ਅਫਗਾਨ ਸ਼ਰਨਾਰਥੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੜ ਵਸਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਸੰਘੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਯਤਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਕੀਤੀ।
Formal announcements, but there's a couple of pretty big milestones that we've hit on Ukraine, on Afghanistan, and more broadly on the processing of immigration cases, which I know has been an issue outside of these humanitarian crises. I do just want to say, yesterday I had an extraordinary experience that is going to stick with me for a very long time. I was on hand at Pearson International Airport while we welcomed a cohort of nearly 300 Afghan refugees who've come through Tajikistan. And what makes this particular cohort notable, other than the journey they've been through, is we now have more than 10,000 Afghan refugees who've landed in Canada and are safe here. One of the things that really had the importance of this sink home for me was the fact that I live in a town that has a little less than 10,000 people. To think that the town of New Glasgow now has been replicated across Canada with people who've given a second lease on life is an extraordinary thing. And when I saw families coming down with children who were the same age as my own kids, I got a 6-year-old at home, I got a little guy who's about to turn 9 months old, to see families coming down the steps of this airplane saying thank you to Canada gives me faith that we're doing something that is worth doing and gives me faith that we're on the right track. A couple of updates that I wanted to share with everybody. Before I get into the numbers, there's a few specific things that have taken place this week that I think are really important around settlement supports and around biometrics, both the rules and the resources that are in the region. So on biometrics, I wanted to let folks know that we've been moving additional supports into the region to follow migration patterns. We're seeing more volumes in certain areas and are setting up new teams with new units. We're working with provinces and territories that are talking about setting up presences on the ground to further facilitate the Canadian effort. We've seen in the past seven days, 12,000 biometrics appointments completed in Europe right now. One of the things that's both challenging but in a lot of ways working well is that when we do see an influx of people who are showing up in Warsaw, we're able to move more people and more biometrics kits into Warsaw. When we see now the second busiest location in the last couple of days is Berlin, which didn't necessarily jive with what we expected to see, we're able to now move additional people and biometrics units to Berlin. We've got additional resources landing in Bucharest and Bratislava and Vienna and Warsaw and Berlin and elsewhere across Europe. To continue to have the flexibility to move both the people and the equipment to these different locations gives us the ability to process literally in excess of 10,000 people in a week. On the biometrics requirements, we've been working with folks who know something about security. What we've realized is there's certain low-risk cohorts that we are now eliminating for certain individuals that don't have other flags on their files, for example, that won't be required to do biometrics anymore. Children under 14 didn't need them to begin with. We're expanding that to kids from 14 to 17. We're expanding that to people over the age of 60 years old, and we're expanding that to folks who have a history of travel to Canada as well, that have followed the rules while they were here.